In the year 1997, the future is in chaos and turmoil. Mankind is on the brink of extinction. Brave survivors band together and build a time displacement apparatus to receive a signal from a parallel future. This transmission is the Vundacast.
Welcome to the Vundacast, the official podcast of Vundablog.com, the home of Unnamed Footage Festival 8 coverage. I am your host, Steven, and I am here with fellow filmmaker Richard O'Hare, one of the minds behind the short Body Worn Video. How are you doing, Richard?
Doing very well. Thank you very much, man.
Body Worn Video is I've been watching quite a few of the shorts in the festival, and I think it's by far one of the most exciting and action-packed of all the shorts.
Nice. I appreciate that. That's great.
So it is playing on the, let's see, I thought it was playing on the 28th. Am I blind? Is that what I'm doing? Here we go. On the 29th, Saturday, we're playing along with the Lost episode at 10:20 p.m. You can watch Body Worn Video, directed by Tony Hibwell, written by Richard O'Hare and Tony Hibwell. Let's check out the trailer real quick.
Please, you have to help. I think they're hurting the baby.
Is this the right address?
Station, we made a terrible mistake.
Whoa.
Yeah, that's great.
Short and mysterious, not giving anything away in that trailer. I'll save any spoilery questions I have for the end. But Body Worn Video, it subverts the expectations you have with like police body cam footage. How did you guys decide that was the type of horror that you guys wanted to riff off of?
Well, this was born a few years ago. I entered a competition to write a script, and I'm a cinematographer by trade, but I just love shooting horror films, and I was like, well, can't win if you don't enter. I've got a couple of ideas. I might as well just jot something down, and then I went and won the competitions. I was like, oh shit, okay, I gotta learn how to be a producer. I gotta learn how to do all the other stuff that doesn't involve just cameras and lights. But it was basically I don't know. You get lost on your phone and you just doom scrolling for ages, and I get caught in like road rage videos and videos of people getting bailiffs knocking on their door, and it's always body cam or dash cam. And it's I don't know. I always think those are such magnetic videos to watch, because you're just oh god, it's drama. It's peeking behind the curtain, what's going on. But it got me thinking with bailiffs as well, the body worn cam. It just solves all the problems you get when you're watching a found footage film where you're why are they still holding the camera? Why haven't they just put that down and ran away? And because these guys just completely would forget that they're wearing a camera anyway, and it doesn't matter. They're just in it, and it's just it's a computer game, and they're just running, and they're just fucking getting chased and all sorts of. Yeah, just that idea of it's completely a free camera that's there without anyone really understanding that it's there, and just having all those cool ideas of like first person shots. And I had to have two characters because otherwise it's just a one shot, and then that'd be hellishly complicated to film. But yeah, it kind of came out of that. It was going to be bailiffs to start, and then I was like, well, why don't I just make it police officers? And then it's like, it's got a little bit more gravitas to it.
So how long was the pre-production like to achieve this level? Because it looks very, very professional.
Oh, thank you. I mean, yeah, it was pretty much a year from when like someone said, yeah, we're going to give you the money, to when we basically like got on set and started rolling. There's a few like different like elements to it. So basically the guys who funded it, it's a company called Fear .io, and they actually are into computer games. They're into like making crypto, NFTs, online gaming, like all that kind of stuff. And they wanted it. They're funding the short mainly just so they can take the IP and make a computer game out of it. And they're actually currently doing that at the minute, which will come out later this year. So there was loads of development that we had to do with them about like the kind of maze path that they go down, how many characters, how many monsters, like how are we like setting up the story, does it lead in like a computer game? And then we had like a whole other day on set where we literally just filmed computer game footage. Like none of it is actually included in the short at all, which is all like to come later on when you get to play the game and you get to see all the cutscenes and stuff. Like it's basically just all just like dead ends, right? Like, oh no, you died, like start again. Oh no, you died, start again, that kind of stuff.
Whoa, that's super cool. That's really, so at what point were they like, okay, you can take our, so it's not technically like a trailer for the game, but it's its own film? Like if you guys
Yeah, so
want to make a feature out of it, would you have control, or you got to go to the crypto guys?
well, I mean, like we own it equally, yeah. So it's theirs and ours, and we basically would make it together, if we ever got a chance to kind of get that done. But yeah, it really wasn't like, it's really quite a collaboration process, and like they had like really really cool ideas about like the monsters and that sort of thing, and they even like supported us along the way, being like, right, let's make it scarier, let's add another monster, let's like make those masks bigger, like all that kind of stuff. Like they were really really cool.
That's awesome. How'd you guys find this like awesome location that looks like some sort of like abandoned, post war aftermath like junkyard facility or something?
Yeah, so I mean, we really looked out. So I live in Yorkshire in the UK, and I mean, like just like you guys in the US, you have those like scare houses or scare theme parks, like at Halloween and stuff. So we have one of them just around the corner, and it's in a farm or a maze like farm that's just around the corner. And obviously, like it's only ever really open September, October, November, like set up October, November, close down. So like for 3/4 of the year, it's like just stood there doing nothing. And we know the guy really well, so we went up to him and was like, hey man, can we have a look around, like potentially filming at your park? He was like, yeah, do it. Like it's literally nothing's happening. And you go in and it's like, I mean, it's scarier than when it's open, man. It's like the lights are off. They just put every single like scare statue in one big hall, and like there's no electricity, there's no heating. It's always like, man, it was creepy as. And they came across this like the last little bit in the shipping container, and they were like, oh, if you actually want to use this one, we're going to tear this one down and we're going to build like a Deliverance type theme park for next year. So like if you wanted to, you could like trash the hell out of this. You could like rip things off the walls. You could do whatever you wanted to, like literally, and because we're just going to completely gut it and redo it. So like, me and Tony were just like, ooh, okay, that definitely sounds like something you want to do. And actually in this first script, like, because they're police officers, and they're coming to like a disturbance, because many domestic disturbance that they get called to, it was meant to be in a house. It was like just meant to be like a run-of-the-mill, normal kind of like end of a cul-de-sac house. The neighbors called or something like that. Like, and I mean, just ultimately, just like it's just really hard to find a house that's like exactly how you kind of imagined it in your head. And then when you do find the houses, you're like, oh yeah, what do you think about just like rubbing shit all over the walls, or like, like what? Can we just turn your basement into like a completely like blood-soaked throne? And they were like, oh yeah, no, you can't do that. So like, yeah, those things have their own like those hurdles to themselves. But this place, it wasn't a house, so we had to do some script changes, but it was everything else and more that we could ever have wanted, and it was amazing.
Wow, that is so cool. And so you were the DP, so are you doing both A and B camera when
No,
like
I
you're the bodyguard?
completely. It's all the police officers, so it's all run in real time. So they literally would put both cameras on them. We had two feeds feeding out the cameras, and me and Tony would sit there at the video village and just watch them. And it was sort of like I guess it was more like a theater performance for them, because we would like start scene, enter, go all the way through to the end of the scene, cut, and then we'd like discuss, and then we'd redo, because you don't have the chance to like, let's get a close up, or let's like do a cutaway, or just do some color around. Like as a DP, I'd be like, yeah, we need to make sure we're like, getting all the detail shots, like make sure we're getting coverage, close ups, mids, and all this stuff. It's like, nah, we get two shots, and they are mega wide, so you can't put lights up anywhere, and like, and yeah, basically, yeah, we had to teach not teach, like it was pretty easy thing to like to instruct, but like our two actors, Ollie and Chantel, we had to tell them to like, right, you've got to move like Batman. You got to move with your chest, because if you move your head, or if you're like moving your head and the torch goes one way, like the people watching the film can't see what you're doing.
Yeah.
So literally they to be like robots. But ultimately you can't tell, and I think it still sells.
I figured that at some point you guys cheated and someone else was wearing the cam and the actors got the
We did have a few discussions about that, especially for the running stuff, because like without any spoilers, but obviously when you get into the throes of it, you're mainly just like seeing like someone running like this down dark corridors, and we were like, well, do we actually even need like our lead to do that? Like she can just do ADR at the end, or do we need the Kane to like be doing all that stuff? Can we just get a stunt in it and do it? Because if they're not looking at each other, then you don't know who's wearing the camera. But ultimately, they were both just like, no, I want to do this. Like this is my character. I've kind of built it up. Like I stupidly, like I know how she would run. Like I know how many times she'd turn around. Like I know how frantic she'd be. Like kind of have that in my character. That I don't really like. If I was to then do it, like I'd just be like thinking about the camera. I'd be like chest out, like working like this. Just, but like yeah, they completely nailed it. And we were actually up for a cinematography award actually at Romford Horror Festival the other day, and I rang both of them up. I was just like, I don't know if this is an award for me or if it's an award for you guys, but let's all just give ourselves a big pat on the back.
That's nice to get a cinematography award and not have to hold the camera the whole movie. That's a good achievement.
I know. Yeah.
How long was post-production like?
Yeah, post-production was pretty swift, to be fair, because we always wanted to premiere at Fright Fest, which is in August in the UK. And the deadline for that's like the end of May. So we started rolling sort of like around this time, like a couple of weeks earlier than this last year. And then we had like from March, like mid-March, end of March, right the way through to the end of May to like make sure it was done, nailed and everything done. And like I don't know, like you made a found footage film. I don't know what it was like for you, but like a lot of people have this misconception that when you go into post-production for a found footage, they're like, oh, it's super easy. It's like it's lo-fi. It's like, you're just gonna blah blah blah. It's like, you don't have all this, and you're like, no, it's not easy. Like, yeah, the sound design has to really fucking sell. Like, you can't put music in it because it's found footage. So like, you can't build your tension with like all that kind of stuff. So we spent so much time like trying to make sure that all the ADR was good, vocals were good, any sort of like re-recordings of like any sort of dialogue was going in. And we actually did some additional dialogue readings because, and we test screened it. A lot of people pointed out some things that we didn't notice, and we were like, fuck, we need to fix that. And then you go, I mean, like these cameras are meant to look fudgy, right? But I did loads of tests before we filmed to see which camera I could use in low light. And because of that, it helped me out a little bit. But I still have to spend quite a lot of time in the grade, just making sure that, you know, like you got police jackets that are like fluorescent, you've got torches that are blue, you've got the outside, which is like bluer, then you've got candles that are like orange. Like we had so much nitpicky detail to figure out in post-production. But we had an amazing team, and yeah, it got absolutely conquered.
Did you feel that you had like everything in camera that day, or did you have to like fix it up when you were color grading everything later?
So like I guess there was always an element of like hiding cuts. Like if you watch it, you know that there'll be some glitches, there'll be some like static, and there was always, we always needed that, because ultimately there's bits where it's a bit of cinema magic where you're like, that person couldn't have been in that room because we've just seen that room and all they've done is turn around and now they're there. You know, we had there's a lot of like trickery that we have to figure out. And so they were planned, but there was a lot of other things that came up where we were like, we really wanted to draw out the first instance when they get into like this hell house, basically. But we only had 2 cameras and they were rolling continuously. So to actually elongate a scene, to build the tension a little bit more and the apprehension, like we were like, oh shit, like there's nothing to cut to, there's nothing we can like fill the scene with. So we really had to like work cleverly in terms of like the continuity and where people were, where torches were pointing and stuff like that, to try and just draw that out, make that feel a little bit more like apprehensive and stuff. So yeah, we didn't have to do any reshoots or anything, but we definitely needed to do some things we weren't planning on doing when we got to the edit. Yeah. And there's another actually with the ADR. Again, I don't want to say too much because obviously I'm not sure if people have seen the film if they're watching me talk about this, but there's some very obvious gore when they go into the this hell house, and in the first instance, neither of the actors talked about it. Like neither of the characters mentioned the fact that they were walking into this blood-soaked corridor, and like someone test screened it and said like, are they not worried that there's like blood everywhere? Like they're not really talking about that. And obviously because we didn't write their blood everywhere on the walls to be in the script, those characters didn't say those words. So luckily, because everyone's wearing a camera on their chest, as long as it's not pointing at the other person, they can say whatever they want and you can't see their mouth. So that was a little bit of a phew moment for us, but other than that, it went exactly how we planned.
It's all right. You rewrite the movie in the edit anyway. That's the final draft.
That's right.
That's what matters.
That's totally right.
Let's get into spoilers.
Oof. Okay. First line of defense. So like firemen, police officers, ambulance, paramedics. These were the people that we'd written into the backstory that they were ringing, capturing people and stuff. And all those extra scenes you get where you kind of allude to the fact that, you know, you've been doing this for a long time.
Hail Vunder. Hail Vunder.
Vundacast? Give it up for Vundacast, man. What an adorable name.
You're listening to the Vundacast.
What's up, everybody? This is Jason David Frank, Green Ranger. You're listening to Vundacast.
You can find it at Vundacast, and I know they love Effie.
I'd like to close this out by urging everyone to go over to Vundablog.com, and you'll see on all of our recent podcasts, and once I post this up there, there will be a link to D-Rock's Patreon account for ad infinitum.
Oh, why'd you start linking my Patreon exactly when I stopped updating?
Oh no! Never mind!
You can also...
No, I'm gonna update it soon, I am. Because Halloween-a-thon's almost over. I've been busy with Halloween-a-thon, so... Sorry, everybody.
Also support the Ringing Rocks roller rink and their GoFundMe to improve their local facility. You can check us out at Vundacast on TikTok and on Twitter. And thank you for joining us on YouTube.
Subscribe to the Vundacast.